have for you. What can the Toastmasters logo do for your club? Why use the Toastmasters logo for your club? Does anyone have any idea? I don't see anyone taking the word here. So let me tell you that basically it is a stamp of guarantee. It's a guarantee that our club, no matter how young, even if it's just a prospect, our club has very solid ground. It lays on very solid ground, has a very solid background. And in fact, there are 4 major guarantees that our Toastmasters International logo gives our clubs. And let's look at them. The first one is a guarantee that Toastmasters has been around for a long time, and that is 97 years of history. And the second is of education. Which is unique. It offers an international network in 149 countries. I want to briefly look at these 4 guarantees with you, because we really need to understand them, make sure that we know about them, especially the younger Toastmasters here, the ones who've been in Toastmasters for a short period of time. You have to be aware that we have a very, very powerful organization behind us. Let's look a bit at the history, these 97 years of history. Well, Toastmasters' birthday was last week. I believe we all remember this because we've seen celebration around the various Toastmasters platforms. And District 109 also celebrated, and I know that many clubs in Turkey have participated in the Toastmasters birthday challenge. You sent in the photos. So, well, thank you for that. And by the way, we will have the winners announced in the upcoming newsletter, which is going to come out at the early beginning of November. So stay tuned for the winners. So we know 22nd of October, 1924, what happened? And I want to go a little bit into the history because I would like you to understand the why and the how. First of all, the why. Why was Toastmasters started anyway? Well, Dr. Ralph Smedley, who is the founder of Toastmasters, was a teacher, and he got a job at the YMCA. For those of you who are not familiar with the YMCA, it is an American nonprofit organization, and the acronym stands for Young Men Christian Association. What they do is they offer people, and especially men, and at that time only men, a shelter, the possibility to, men who have problems, financial problems, or they're going through difficult times in their lives, they offer them very cheap housing in their structures. You can see one of the YMCA. In fact, the building that you see here is the original YMCA, where the very first meeting was held. It's a big building. These men lived there, and this organization also offers them educational programs. Dr. Smedley was in charge of the educational program at the YMCA that you see here in Santa Ana, California. And one of the things that he noticed was that the men there really needed to learn how to speak. They needed to learn how to talk and how to bring their ideas. He saw they had lots of ideas. They were intelligent people, but they really lacked basic communication skills. So he felt that he could help. And together with some of his colleagues on the 22nd of October, 1924, he held the first meeting right there in that YMCA. It was about 20 people, 20 men. And how was that very first meeting structured? How were those very first meetings structured? Well, first of all, there were no books, because Dr. Smedley did not use texts, books, or anything like that. He believed in learning by doing. So he was holding oral explanation on how to give a speech, and then people had an opportunity to try it out, and therefore learn by doing. Isn't that familiar? Isn't that something that we still do here in Toastmasters? And then the ones that were a bit more experienced were offering feedback. They were telling the new speakers how they could improve. And that's something that we still have in Toastmasters, and that we really heavily rely on evaluation and feedback. Now, the men who started in this club became very proficient, very fast. And the word spread around in the community and even in nearby cities, that these meetings were so successful that the people were learning and getting new skills. And so Dr. Smedley received many letters, a lot of correspondence asking how to start a club, and also what to use to teach people. And so over the next couple of years, what he did, sorry about this, was he wrote 2 books. One is a manual of instructions, and the second one is 10 lessons in public speaking. And in 1928, he copyrighted those 2 books and also trademarked the name Toastmasters Club. 4 years later, well, in the meantime, the clubs were blooming. There were lots of clubs born around the initial one, and also in other cities. And in 1832, Toastmasters International was incorporated as a California non-profit organization. Why am I telling you this? Well, because it's so important to understand why it all began, because it's still the reasons why we have our Toastmasters meetings, is to help people improve their speaking abilities, okay? Now, let's look at the logo, because this is what we're really talking about tonight, is about the logos. As you can see, our logo is the one on the far right, is the logo, the modern one, the one we're using. But in 1933, the very first logo was crafted, the one that you see on the left. And the logo and 2 gates on underneath of the globe. Okay, that logo there was evolved a little bit, but not so much. It wasn't changed that much. It only underwent very few revisions, and very light ones as well. As you can see, only it got colored in time, and it was changed in 2011. In 2011, we have the new logo. Now, this is part, when we talked about consistency, one of the 2 legs of consistency is time. So as you can see, our logo has been pretty much the same across time, and it's now 10 years old, and I am sure that it will be kept this way for a very long time to come, because it's very important to stay consistent. Now, the second guarantee stamp is 97 years of educational success. This graph here shows the last 30 years in Toastmasters, the membership growth for the last 30 years. And you can see it goes from 150,000 members in 1990 to over 350,000 today. So that is double the number. And as you can see, a nonprofit organization does not grow that much unless it's founded on success, because it's based on people's referrals, right? And therefore, this growth shows the educational success over time. And in fact, I have a couple of things here to show you. And this is a very new statistics that I have found on Toastmasters International website. It's dated July 2021, this only a few months ago, a couple of months ago. And it says that 94% of Toastmasters alumni, that is Toastmasters who've gone through the process for a few years, have improved their public speaking skills. 94%. The members that met their goals stayed in Toastmasters for quite a long time, that is between 10 and 11 years. So people don't stay in an organization and would not recommend it so much unless it was a very successful one. Oh, yes, and by the way, 8.6, always the same statistics from July, says that 8.6% of our 8.6 out of 10 members would recommend Toastmasters to their friends. What about the unique learning method? The Toastmasters International mission is still the one that we had at the beginning with Dr. Smedley. That is to empower individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders. And it is a unique method because I don't believe, in fact, I am sure that no other organization is using it. We don't have professors. We don't have teachers telling us what to do. It is an experiential type of learning. We learn by doing. The program is self-paced. We don't get assignments. We don't have to turn in an assignment at a certain date. We can take 1 year to go through a path, or we can take 10 years. Self-paced. It's based on peer feedback, that is the evaluation, and mentoring. So as I said, this is the third stamp of guarantee of a unique method which has worked for 97 years and it has been successful that long. And the fourth stamp of guarantee is it offers an international network in 149 countries. Now, whether you are traveling in person, like I used to do until a couple of years ago, and no matter where I was in the world, I was always able to find a Toastmasters club nearby. And I've met so many people around the world through the Toastmasters organization. Or even now, look at us tonight. We're here from different parts of the world. I'm talking from Italy, and you're there in Turkey or maybe in the US or other countries. And we're all here connected and learning from each other through this international network. It's 149 countries now, but we're counting more countries every year. So now let's take a closer look at the Toastmasters brand. And where can you find the information? Meltem said that there are new VPPRs here. So if you haven't downloaded it yet, you should get to know the brand manual. You find it on the Toastmasters International website in the brand portal. There is a section called the brand portal, and there you can find the brand manual plus a lot of other very, very useful information. Well, what is the brand manual? Well, the brand manual is a collection of everything there is to know in order for us to use the brand correctly. Tonight we're just going to I'm going to give you some highlights on some important parts. Starting with the logo, since we were talking about logos do's and logos don'ts. This page is taken from the brand manual, by the way, and it's very easy to read because the part in blue is, yes, things that you can do with the logo, and the part on the far right in the white is what you cannot do. It might be surprising to some of you, but there is a lot of distortions of the logo around our 149 countries. When I first became the public relations manager for District 109, I audited many of the social platforms of our clubs, and the ones that you see circled in red are problems or issues that I found. Luckily, I have been able to talk to the VPPRs, and many of these issues have been changed. They are no longer there. But some of them, so the first principle is that the logo cannot be changed in any way. Let's think for a moment back to the McDonald's logo, the yellow arches. No restaurant, although all restaurants in McDonald's are privately owned, they all keep that very same logo. They do not distort it. That's the same thing for us. We need to keep the logo just the way it is. Then we need to ensure that there is enough space around the logo, and the exact amount of space you can find here in the brand manual. And that also means that it should not be placed too close to the edge of a page or too close to text, and it should be clearly visible. It can be placed on top of photographs, and we're going to look at that more in detail later. And also, it can be placed on solid colors, but like you see here on the right-hand side, which is also circled in red, you cannot place it on colors which are not in the Toastmasters brand colors. In this case, it was placed on green, and green is not one of our brand's color. Now, how do I add my club's name to the logo? I get these questions a lot, because people say, all right, so we are all going to use the same logo, but how can I personalize my logo? Do you think it's possible? Anyone has an idea about this? All right, so let me tell you. Yes, it is possible to personalize the logo, but the first one that I'm showing you here has a problem. Do you know what problem this logo has? By the way, it's a real one. All right, first of all, the text on top of the round logo here. It cannot, there is no text can go above the logo. All text should go underneath of it, never on top. Next, this word here, Singapore, it's not in, there's not enough space between the logo and the word. And secondly, the text should never circle around, but it should be on a straight line. Here is the District 109 logo, which is correct. It has enough space, and that space there has been measured. The title in the district is on one line, and it's also in one of the colors of Toastmasters palette. Now there, instead of District 109, you can write club number, you write the club name, whatever, that is allowed, okay? And that is also a personalization for your logo. Next, the brand colors. The Toastmasters brand has three main colors, which are the true maroon, the loyal blue, and the cool gray. These colors have been very carefully chosen to represent our brand because, as you might know, each color has, how would I say, a psychological effect on people and on people's perception, how the color helps us perceive things. So these were very, very carefully chosen. If you want to know exactly why, that's also in the brand manual. But one of the questions that Meltem asked me to explain tonight was, how do we know that in our platforms, the ones we're using, we are using the right colors, the right shades? Well, each color has a code. And in fact, it has more than one. For instance, take underneath the true maroon here, you find that there is 4 different kinds of codes underneath of it. The first one is called the hexadecimal code, and it's writes HEX, and then there is the hashtag, and then a number. That number behind the hashtag, that is the code that we're looking for. For instance, if you're using Canva, that's the number that you want to be using. when you enter the color there. For those who do web design, if you're doing your club's website, for instance, you might want to use the RGB, and that's the third one that you see here. In fact, the first letter is R, the second letter is G, and the third one is B. Whereas the CMYK is for printing. We're not going to get into all this detail because we don't really need that. Okay, just keep in mind these two codes. And really, the most important one is the hexadecimal, the HEX, because that's for all practical purposes and for what we do as VPPRs, that's the one we're going to be needing. So these are the three primary colors. Then we also have another color, which is a little bit to the side, and that's the happy yellow. That is not a primary color for our brand. It is an accent color. What does that mean? It means it can be used in all our posters in an artwork, but not as one of the main ones. So the question is, can I do a background in yellow? So if I use that kind of yellow, that happy yellow there, the answer is no, because it's not a main color. You can use it for text. You can use it for smaller elements to highlight other subjects that aren't three base colors. Besides these, we also have black and white. Black is not used as a design color. It's used for text. It can be used for text. Of course, you can use the other three main colors and also the yellow for text. And also we have white. We can use white. White can be used against a contrasting background, like in this case that you see here. Or it can also, white is very useful when you're creating a design to give it a little bit of space between colors. Sometimes, in fact, a lot of the times I see posters out there on the Toastmasters platforms, which only use the three primary colors, and they kind of look heavy, okay? And so I do encourage you to use some white also with those colors to make it a little bit lighter and also more modern looking. Now, what about pictures and photos? This is a whole paragraph by itself. Toastmasters is very particular about the photography that we can use. And in fact, I'm going to read it to you. The photography style should reflect the Toastmasters environment. So when we choose a photo, it should reflect the Toastmasters environment, where people look engaged, empowered, and supported. And the people need to be meetings, also team meetings, for instance, presentations, speeches, conferences, everything that has to do with what we do as Toastmasters. I'm going to show you these three posters. These are, in fact, templates that I have prepared for VPPRs, and they're free, and VPPRs are free to use these. In fact, I'm going to share the templates with them. The pictures that you see in here are all taken from the Toastmasters International website. This is your primary source of pictures, because these pictures are all branded pictures. They were taken by Toastmasters International, and they're there for us to use. They're free just to download and use. They have collected them over time. Some of them look newer, others look a little bit older. So that is really up to you which ones you're going to use. Of course, besides these pictures, you can also choose pictures on the internet. But here, there is a word of caution. It's very easy to just say, write something like maybe meeting, a team meeting, and Google it, because then you know that Google is going to return you a whole huge numbers of pictures. But the pictures that you're going to get out of Google most likely are not royalty-free images. So if you use images which are either copyrighted or in any way are not allowed to be used freely, you are in trouble, either personally, or your club gets in trouble, your president, all the way up to the district director. So please make sure that with the images that you use are royalty-free images. The same goes for music, of course. If you use music for videos, for instance, the videos I've made with all the pictures for the Toastmasters birthday challenge have music behind it. And that music was taken from one of these platforms because it's royalty-free. I am free to use, okay? So the ones I've written here are the ones that I personally use, the one I can recommend. There's lots more. You can search for them on your own, but these are all trusted ones. Now, for images, I would like to really point out that Canva, which is also a platform that allows you to create your artwork, is really the best place. Because they have, I believe now, over 60 million pictures free to use, royalty-free pictures, 60 millions. So I'm sure that there you can find everything that you can look for. Now, if you are on a free Canva account, that number drops. I don't know exactly because I haven't really looked into this, but it could drop by maybe you might have access to 100,000, 200,000, no more, but it's still a big number. And besides, Canva professional account is not that expensive because it's about 100 euros or more or less per year. And it can be used by 5 different people. So some of the things that happen in some divisions, for instance, is that clubs purchase one license together and they share it. So if 5 clubs share the same professional account, then it would be around 20 euros per year per club. And it's really worth the investment. Now, since last May, Toastmasters has introduced the possibility of using logos on the logo on pictures directly without putting a background behind the logo, just like this one that you see here. There are, though, a few rules that you need to follow in order to be able to do this. The first one is that the logo must have good contrast. That is, it really needs to stand out and not blend in with the background. It needs to be fully readable. That means that it needs to have a certain width measurement, because if it's too small, sometimes, for instance, I see posters out there where the logo is so small, especially on mobile phones, because you have to keep in mind that most people will see your artwork, you will see your posts from a smartphone, which sometimes is quite small. So make sure that that logo there remains visible even on smartphones. It has to have enough clear space around it, as we it does not need to be part of anything special in the photo. Another point is that it does not, it needs not to cover people's faces, and it needs to be placed in the corners. Ideally, it should be placed in the upper left corner or the lower right corner. I have chosen this particular picture here because it's not in either one of those 2 corners. Because if I had put it in the lower right, I would have gone into the text. And if I put it on the left top corner, it would be on the rock. And as you see here in point 4, the logo should not be placed on anything special in the picture. And here in this particular image, the rock is an integral part of the picture. It's an important part. So the logo should never be on that. And now, what is not permitted in artwork? There are also things that are not allowed, okay? The brand guidelines recommend that we connect our artwork to the Toastmasters environment. And that means they need to have people in there. So, for instance, if we use landscapes, just like this, for instance, with no people in there, but maybe maybe we use it, say, for our next meeting. We might say, look at how beautiful fall colors come to our meeting. The theme of the meeting is the fall colors. And perhaps you use this one, this picture there. You cannot do that. On the other hand, if in that picture you have maybe members of your club, then you could still use it. Other subjects that are not permitted in our artwork are children, medical material, animals, although the cat is cute, but you cannot really use it. Architecture elements by themselves, food, and cartoons. These are all no-nos for Toastmasters brand, okay? Now, for instance, let's take the animal, the cat. It depends, all of this, it depends also in the context. For instance, let me tell you a little thing here. One of my very first speeches in my club was about my cat. And I did bring in some props about cats. Now, people did take pictures of that speech and with me with the cat ears and all of that. That is okay, even though I was representing some part of an animal, etc., because it was taken during a speech in a Toastmasters meeting. What Toastmasters does not want is for us to take pictures just like these, like the ones you see, and just maybe use them as they are without any context. Now, I would like to do a little exercise here with you. I have a lot of questions that I receive as a public relations manager. And these ones are the same questions I believe could be interesting also for your clubs. So I'm going to go through them and open the floor so that you can also tell me what you think about these. And then we'll find the answers together. The first one is, can my club create its own logo? This is a question that is very close to me, not only because I get it regularly, but also because when I became the VPPR of my club, we had a personal logo. My club had a personal logo. And so I began to inquire if that was okay. It had been having a personal logo for many years. So can someone give me the answer to this question? Anyone want to try it?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead, Yılında.
I guess we can.
Okay, you guess you can create a logo which is different than Toastmasters International. Is that what you're saying? Yes, okay. Anyone else?
Paola?
Yes?
Okay, so my answer is no. However, if you have a special event, if you're going on a picnic and want to do a shirt, you can come up with a design and submit it to Toastmasters International Branding Department and get approval.
Okay, that's okay. Yes, that is different though. The design, we are going to get into the t-shirt thing because that's another big question that I get all the time. Right now, would like to concentrate only on the logo. I mean, can you, for instance, on your social media pages, say on your Facebook club's page, have a profile picture logo, which is different than that of Toastmasters International?
No, the answer is no.
Correct. The answer is no, and that is no under all circumstances. I'm underlining this because this is a very big no-no. Okay, and also this is a no not only because Toastmasters International may enforce this, but also because of our branding recollection. What we talked earlier about the consistency. We have more than 16,000 clubs in 149 countries. If each club comes up with their own personal logos, where is Toastmasters International? It's gone. Poof, no more. The only way we are going to really strengthen our brand is, first of all, to believe in it, to understand that for our club, it is a stamp of guarantee, that it guarantees all those things we looked at earlier. And that's what we need to leverage. Our personal logo, how many people would know, say maybe my club? We are 27 people in my club. We have family and friends, so maybe 100 people might know about the Verona Toastmasters logo. But the Toastmasters International logo is known by over 1 million people, at least, if not more. So we really, this is a no. The next one is, can my club add a personal logo next to the Toastmasters logo? This is the next question. When I say no to the first one, they say, okay, but what if I add my club's logo next to the Toastmasters International one? Is that allowed? Yılında, do you have any opinions on this one?
Maybe yes, this is possible, but I'm going to guess it's no. Still no.
All right, when you see the word personal logo, it's always a no. Okay, so not even, I have this in our district, there are clubs that insist on this. Okay, they have two logos. They have the Toastmasters International, plus they've added their own, and it's still a no. Now, I don't know if there is anyone here who belongs to corporate clubs. In the case of a corporate club, can we use our company's logo? I mean, not the Toastmasters only, but also the company's logo together.
Maybe if it is not bigger than Toastmaster logo, we can use it.
Okay, yes, you can use co-branded material only in the case of a corporate club, but it needs to follow a few guidelines, and that means that the logos should not be displayed side by side, next to each other, close to each other. They should be placed in different parts of the material. Okay, like if you have maybe a flyer, you don't want to put the two logos together there, but you want to put one on one side and the other one on the other side of the page. But you can have both logos only in the case of a corporate club. Can I reference my Toastmaster membership and officers role on my social media website? For instance, can I say on LinkedIn that I am public relations manager for Toastmasters International this year? Can I say it on Facebook? Can I put it up on my website?
Yes, as a volunteer work.
Yes, this is a yes. You can do that. Okay, you can state that you are a member of Toastmasters International, and you can state your officer's role as well. So that's a go. I believe by now everybody knows this one. Is Toastmasters International brand protected by copyright? And the answer is yes. The marks, so the names Toastmasters International, Toastmaster, and Toastmasters, as well as the logos, the word marks, everything, are registered for trademark protection in all countries where district and territorial councils exist, and therefore they can only be used according to Toastmasters regulations, okay? And they're under the authority of Toastmasters International. That's also why we cannot change the logo, because it's a trademark. Can my club accept external sponsors? This is a very interesting one. Do you think that if you, maybe there is a hotel who would like to give you some meeting room for free? Can you accept that? Or they might like to give you some money for what you're doing. Can you accept that? Can your club accept that? No opinions on this? Well, fortunately, the answer is yes. Your club can accept sponsorship, both financial and in kind. That means an example of in kind could be, as I said, receiving free meeting room, or paying for members' dues or new members' fees, or for instance, maybe an agency, a PR agency might want to host, create, or maintain your club's website or social media pages. That is possible. As sponsors, they would like for sure to have their names and their logos on your web pages or on all your social media or whatever brochures that you're going to make. That is possible. They can be listed. However, only in a specific area of your material or your website that clearly marks that they are sponsors or partners, and they can be there only for the duration of the provided support, and then they need to be removed. But yes, you can accept the support of sponsors. And now we are at the t-shirts. Can our club create t-shirt caps, ribbons, or special trophies? And here the answer is it depends. It's yes, but it depends. As a general rule, you need to get permission. You cannot go ahead, and this is a question I got a couple of weeks ago. There was a club that wanted to do t-shirts, and but they wanted to do them immediately because they had some sort of an event. The answer was no, because they need to get permission. So if you want to get your t-shirts done, maybe for your club or your mugs, or who knows, maybe the caps, whatever you want to get done for your club with a special design, you need to go to the trademark user request form, which you find online in the brand portal always. Okay, you need to fill out the form and also send in the design to get it approved by the Toastmasters International. If you get it approved, you can use it. So you can print your t-shirts, whatever you're going to do, your caps, etc. And how long can you use it for? Forever? The answer is no. You can use it only for one Toastmasters term, which means if, for instance, we got the okay today, that would be that we can create our t-shirts and wear them until June 30th of next year, which is the end of the Toastmasters term. If we want to continue wearing them, we need to send in another trademark user request. So the trademark user request has a specific time through which it's valid, and then it needs to be renewed. And for this, I have here also some other recommendation, because I really think that creating a t-shirt for one's club would be really a good idea. It's something that is going to stimulate the fantasy on one side of the members and also make the group feel cohesive. We are all part of one single group. So here are the rules to get the t-shirt right. The logo or wordmark always in front and no larger than 7.5 centimeters in diameter. The words or type on the back of the t-shirt, like your club's name, for instance, or the design, need to be no more than 30 centimeters wide and 43 centimeters high. These numbers are very important if you're going to do this, because otherwise your design will not get approved. Also, the t-shirts can only have certain colors. You cannot have yellow t-shirts, green t-shirts, or multicolored t-shirts, because the only ones that colors that will be accepted are white, burgundy, blue, black, and gray. And once the design is ready, you submit it to the trademark user to get the okay. If you have any questions about the design, but not only the design for t-shirts really, but also if you have any questions about a design that you are producing for your club and you would like to know if it's brand compliant or not, you have a couple of ways of doing this. You either contact me as the public relations manager, or you can contact the brand team at the Toastmasters International office. And there is their email address right there, brand@toastmasters.org. They do take a little bit of time to answer, but their answers are final. So now the hour is gone. I'm going to open the floor for your questions now. The presentation is finished.